To date, the Breaking Bad franchise consists of 2 TV shows and a movie, but the timeline for each title is a bit tricky. All 3 projects were developed by Vince Gilligan for AMC, although El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, first debuted on Netflix. With Better Call Saul heading into its final seasons, let's take a look at how the main narrative fits into the shared Breaking Bad timeline. So, when does Breaking Bad take place alongside its spin-offs? Breaking Bad first debuted in 2008 by introducing Walter White, Bryan Cranston, as a teacher who left his ordinary life behind to risk it all by becoming a drug kingpin. Along the way, he partnered with young Jesse Pinkman, Aaron Paul, and often gained assistance from con artist extraordinaire and lawyer Saul Goodman, Bob Odenkirk. After Walt met his demise during Breaking Bad's ending in 2013, the franchise expanded with the spin-off prequel series based on Saul's life when he was still known as Jimmy McGill. Many other familiar faces from Breaking Bad have since popped up in Better Call Saul, and more are on the way. After numerous rumors, plans to release a follow-up Breaking Bad film was finally announced in the summer of 2019. El Camino focused on Jesse after the events of Breaking Bad, while also filling in many blanks left by the original series. When does Breaking Bad take place in relation to them? In order to keep track of the tumultuous events, here's a breakdown of the entire Breaking Bad timeline from Better Call Saul through El Camino. Better Call Saul's timeline explained. Considering Better Call Saul serves as a prequel to Breaking Bad, it's set predominantly in the past. The series continues to focus on how Jimmy McGill fully transformed into a big-time con man Saul Goodman, who gets swept up in Walter White's drug operations. When Better Call Saul begins, the narrative is set in May 2002, a time when Jimmy was struggling financially as a public defender. After trying to get revenge on a potential client, Jimmy encounters Nacho Varga and the Salamanca crime family. Around the same time, Mike Ehrmantraut gets involved with the Salamancas. The entire first season is only set over 2 months. Better Call Saul Season 2 still takes place in 2002, from July to September. Jimmy is working as a lawyer for Davis and Maine at the recommendation of Kim Wexler, who's absent from Breaking Bad's timeline, but the gig doesn't last long. The pair later team up for their own private practice, while Jimmy manipulates his brother to benefit his own work. That is until Chuck McGill commits suicide and Jimmy loses his law license. Gus Fring finally enters the fold in Better Call Saul Season 3, which is initially set in September 2002. Flashbacks fill in some blanks left in Gus' backstory, but in the present storyline, he assists Mike in laundering money while vying to take over from the Salamanca family. The entire season spans 6 months. Better Call Saul Season 4 picks up just after the events of the previous season. Without a law license, Jimmy works at a cell phone store but eventually gets another chance at being a lawyer due to a successful appeal. He, then, decides to practice law as Saul Goodman. Meanwhile, Gus Meth Superlab begins construction underneath the laundry facility. The season features a 9-month time jump, bringing the storyline to early 2004. Better Call Saul Season 5 is still in 2004, as is Season 6, over 4 years before the events of Breaking Bad set off. There are flash forwards to 2010 when Jimmy is living incognito as Gene and working as a fast food manager, culminating in him receiving a jail sentence that will see him die behind bars. Breaking Bad's timeline explains. So when does Breaking Bad take place compared to Better Call Saul? Breaking Bad debuted in 2008 and was set within the same year. It begins in September 2008 when science teacher Walter White celebrates his 50th birthday while also learning about his cancer diagnosis. A few weeks later, he makes his first kill stemming from his new meth operation with partner Jesse. Season 2 picks just where the debut season ends in November. Walt is now known as Heisenberg, and he gets assistance from Saul to connect with Gus. When the season ends, the setting is early 2009, which features the plane crash over Albuquerque. Similar to Season 1 in terms of length in the timeline, Breaking Bad Season 3 also takes place over just 2 months. Skyler learns about her husband's meth business around the time Walt is hired by Gus to cook in the super lab. When Breaking Bad Season 4 picks up, it's mid-April 2009 and Walt's working relationship with Gus starts to go south very quickly. Over the course of 4 months, Gus cuts Walt from the business. Walt and Skyler then turn to Saul to find a way to launder their money. By the end of the season, Walt finally carries out a successful plan to take out Gus once and for all. Breaking Bad Season 5 was split into 2 segments when AMC broadcast the episodes. The season as a whole also encompasses a large portion of the timeline between July 2009 and March 2010, which occurs in Season 5A. Walt, Jesse, and Mike start a new meth business. Walt ends up killing Mike and aligns with Todd Alquist and Jack Welker's gang, which turns out to be a terrible choice. Just before the mid-season finale, Hank figures out that Walt is Heisenberg. The second half of Breaking Bad Season 5 continues where the previous episodes left off with a few flash-forwards mixed in. As Hank goes after Walter White, his family learns about Heisenberg and fully falls apart. Hank is then killed by Jack's men, Jesse is taken hostage, and Walt's only option is to leave his family before hiding out in New Hampshire. 6 months go by until Walt's 52nd birthday, when he decides to tie up loose ends since Hess dying of cancer. The series timeline concluded on September 7, 2010, when Walt ambushes Jack's compound, killing the men and allowing Jesse to escape captivity before dying from a gunshot wound. El Camino's timeline explained when Jesse is freed from the compound at the end of Breaking Bad, he steals Todd's car and speeds away. El Camino? A Breaking Bad movie picks up just moments later, while Jesse flees before ending up at Skinny Pete's house. The story is still set in early September 2010, despite the fact the movie was released in 2019, nearly a decade after Breaking Bad ended. In his final timeline appearance, Jesse fights to acquire enough money to pay Ed Galbraith for a new identity and relocation. The El Camino movie also features several flashbacks, including one in 2008 when Jesse and Walter first started cooking meth. There are also appearances by Mike, Jane, and Todd in the form of flashbacks to share more of Jesse's complicated past. When Jesse finally pays Ed for his services, about 2 weeks pass until Hess safely brought to Alaska to start a new life. This brings the events of the Breaking Bad franchise to an end in late September 2010. Vince Gilligan has confirmed that the Breaking Bad timeline is done. Vince Gilligan's Breaking Bad timeline, after Better Call Saul and El Camino, is concluded both narratively and practically, despite their success, and Breaking Bad creator Vince Gilligan has confirmed that Hess done making stories in the acclaimed universe. Gilligan, via Deadline, made it clear that he wants to pursue new projects outside the AMC shared universe he created. You can't keep putting all your money on Red 21. I feel like we probably pushed it doing a spin-off to Breaking Bad, but I could not be more happy with the results. Then I did El Camino, and I'm very proud of that too. But I think I'm starting to sense you've got to know when to leave the party. You don't want to be the guy with a lampshade on your head. However, Gilligan's departure from the Breaking Bad universe doesn't necessarily mean it's done for good, but his vision of the timeline is concluded. Unlike Gilligan, AMC has indicated they're open to more Breaking Bad spin-offs. Dan McDermott, president of entertainment and AMC Studios at AMC Networks, has made his feelings on potential Breaking Bad projects clear. I can tell you that if I could do anything to encourage Vince and Peter to continue on in this universe, I would do it," McDermott said in a 2022 interview via Variety. It's unsurprising considering how successful Better Call Saul and El Camino have been, not to mention how much speculation there is around other stories that delve into the histories of supporting Breaking Bad characters like Gus Fring. Many franchises have continued after their creator parted ways with the IP. George Lucas and Star Wars is the best-known example, but Breaking Bad's fellow AMC show The Walking Dead continued after original showrunner Frank Darabont parted ways with the project after season 1. Depending on who owns story rights, AMC could well create new Breaking Bad spin-offs and extend the timeline without Vince Gilligan's involvement, but it'd never really be the same.